So guys, if you have not yet subscribed, please do. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. It's a really good one. We're with Tony from Swig.
Oh, dude, I love this place. I love this place.
He tells us the baseline of how Swig started, which is really interesting. The phone call from Ohio to Hawaii saying, I'm not coming back, which is in this kind of cold is really shocking anyways. But we touch on a lot of the way that they create new inventions in food, the way they've been doing things, and it seems as though they've been a step ahead or 2 steps ahead all the way along. It's a really good one. Please hit subscribe, share it with your friends, and like us for sure. Thanks a lot.
Y'all ready for this?
Welcome to the Dan DeVerna Podcast, where we talk about business, life, and how to win at both.
I mean, the original idea with Swig, like, tell me how Swig came about in the first place. Because that's
originally Swig. It's kind of cool. I was living in Hawaii, okay, in the island of Kauai, over the North Shore, and I'd call home. You know, you miss your family, you miss your friends. Mm-hmm. And Jim, my business partner, was one of my greatest pals. Before I moved out there, we were drinking buddies, talking buddies. I worked in the corporate world then, and he was in the restaurant world, and I come from the restaurant world, and I was just in this, and for me, it's being in the corporate world was a different land. And so I'd, moonlight at Stella's. And so we'd meet up over, at a local pub. And so I'd call home and, talk to him, and we just talk for a while. And he said, hey, stop in next time you come back through. Well, the resort, not even restaurant, but the resort I was working at was under reconstruction. So I came back to visit. Well, when I was here, he showed me where Swig is located. And I was like, oh my gosh, I lived across the street.
Mm-hmm.
I used to live across the street from where Swig is. And I used to look out that window, and some of my friends that would be hanging out. When I lived across the street, I was in my late 20s. And I always pointed across, at that time it wasn't Broski's, it was Coral Hamburger. I'd always tell them, hey, I'm going to own that. And when I came back and Jim was like, what would you think about, partnering up, let's go in here and let's open a restaurant. I was like, oh, hell yeah. This is the best. This is insanely crazy awesome. And so I pretty much called back to Hawaii and said, hey guys, staying in Ohio.
For the weather.
Yeah, if you think of that conversation, it was like, you're what, brother? I'm staying in Ohio. Okay, mahalo. Right. And so it was, I don't know, it was really neat. And so the name of Swig itself it came through the fact that we wanted to open, or it came through our idea of us wanting to open a elevated neighborhood gastropub. At the time, it wasn't called a gastropub. That was one of those, up and coming hipster words at the time.
Yeah.
We call it a neighborhood bar,
right?
Corner bar.
Yeah.
Elevated.
Yeah.
So, but accessible by anybody. And our thought was, at least when I was growing up, hey, give me a swig of that. When someone's drinking remember when Gatorades were so stupid expensive when we were kids?
Sure.
And hey, can I have a swig of that? And so we were like, well, this is right before the craft beer craziness started. This is 2008. What else came in 2008? A giant ass recession.
Right. Yeah.
So, but we were so focused on our little neighborhood bar, our little corner bar, that we didn't pay attention to a recession happening. I mean, we knew it was there, but we didn't know the depths. We weren't watching TV. We were knocking down walls and building things with our own hands. We built the bar with our own hands, the walls. We put everything together ourselves. And we knew, we were like, all right, this is going to be a cool place. So we got down to menu making. We stopped and we were like, well, shit, what are we going to do? We have, we've got burgers, we got these hot dogs. And at that point, I stopped and was like, let's make our own. Hell with it. Let's make our own. I grew up from my grandparents, both sides of the family, making sausage, making our own, what you would call bologna, I call mortadella. We're making our own everything. Mm-hmm. And it was like, it's, not that far off. Let's try it. And so instead of Swig, your friendly neighborhood bar, we literally sat around swigging and how about charcuterie and suds for the curious? It had that old West, like, come on in here, let's check this out. And so we slapped that as our sub brand, if you want to call it, right underneath Swig. And we learned how to make the best damn hot dogs around really quick.
Right.
Well, then it also kicked us in the ass because we stopped and we looked around and we said, well, one, we're in the middle of recession. Two, we decided to open a fancy hot dog joint in the hometown of Tony Pacos and Rudy's and Ideal. And we're just like, oh God, what did we do? So at that point, when we first opened, we had lots of domestic beers on tap and just a couple crafts. Obviously, I like craft beer. And so we started doing all craft. And, we won't leave up on our Paps. And, we still have our domestics, but, I'd say 90% craft. And as far as the food goes, now that's where the big focus became. Believe it or not, it wasn't just on beer and booze. It was the food. It was the feeling. When you walk in there, our motto truly is, there's no such thing as strangers. It's just friends you haven't met yet. Mm-hmm. And we really focused on that. And in order to do such, it's not in order to, but an easy way to do such is food. And what a better way of food is, hey, I remember why I had this when I was a kid, or man, I really miss this, or taking somewhere fancy you've been and man, that was the best, lobster thermidor I've ever had. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so we take all these fancy foods and comfort foods, we bring them all together and we make it accessible to everybody. You know what I mean? Just not, the businessman that, is having his meeting, or, someone like me, hanging out with, my blue collar buddies. It's everybody is on the same playing field, eating the same delicious food. On the same note, you could be having a burger with lobster on it for a simple low price, considering what you're having. And then we went into, at that point, the world of farm to table. Okay, that became huge, gargantuan. Everything had to be farm to table. Yes, I know the name of that pig that I'm eating. I didn't. It's just like, well, Lord, okay, cool. I might know the farmer or not, or maybe I don't want to know.
Right, I don't want to know the pig I'm eating. I don't want to know his name.
Exactly.
Build a relationship.
Being a carnivore.
Awkward.
I mean, who doesn't love a steak or a chicken? I mean, I know there's a lot of people, but to this day, I still have a problem. I'm a sucker. All right. If I see anything with, a face, it's, no, I'm not eating that. So I'm in denial. I am. And even to this day, when I get, whole pieces, what have you, there's no, I have it cut down locally before it comes to me.
Yeah.
I can't. Otherwise, I would be a vegan and I wouldn't know how to make your hot dog anymore.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward. 2013. 2013 came and our production got such and our volume got such that I could no longer hand make people's hot dogs. Honest to golly. I mean, it got to the point where I couldn't do anything. And so we put, I took my recipe and I jumped in the car. And I decided to jump in the car, Jim and I, my business partner, my father-in-law at the time, jumped in the car, decided it'd be a great idea to drive to Detroit in the middle of a snowstorm to Winter Sausage with our recipe in hand. We give it to them and say, can you do this? Not only can we do this, but we can make this awesome. And dude, these guys make hot dogs for Tiger Stadium. I'm just like, oh yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Right
Can
on.
we put Swig in Tiger Stadium? And they started laughing and said, probably not. So anyways, so we drove back in the snowstorm, and man, I'm going really long on what the hell the background of Swig is. So there,
It's a long background.
Here we are today.
I mean, it's kind of what we're here for.
It's so crazy. I mean, I was married in that time, divorced in that time. I was thin at that time, big at that time, thin at that time, and I'm working on getting big at it again. I've gone from enjoying beer to seltzers to wine to cocktails to beer to all of them. You know what I mean? It's our management staff hasn't changed. I've had a couple changes, but like JT, you knew about JT.
Of course.
I love the guy. Love him like my son. He's been there since day one. In fact, we had him crawl underneath Swig because we couldn't fit through the hole that they dug, and he was just a little 19-year-old kid, so he was able to fit through this hole. So, and he's still there. That's 12 years ago. So I think we got a pretty cool thing going.
Yeah.
And leading into today with what's going on, et cetera, it set us up and how we started to be fully adaptable to this awful, stuff we're dealing with now.
Right.
And we don't look at it as, oh my gosh, this pandemic. I mean, we're all burned out. I'm burned out. You're burned out. Everyone's burned out.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing those 4 letters. Or is it 5? 5 letters. I'm tired of it. So what we've done is we flipped it on its back, and we look at things the ways we've adapted, not just menu-wise, portability, tech, attitude, general public outreach, giving back. When your pockets, run low, there's other people's pockets that are even lower. So, to give as much as you're getting that pays off. And so, and not to look far enough in the future going, okay, we're helping here. Will it come back to us? Maybe, maybe not. Who cares? Let's take care of our brothers and sisters now. And we'll worry about that later. Well, I'll tell you what, COVID ain't got shit, because we've had so much love coming back to us that it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So anyway.
Well, you guys are busy. There's different versions of you guys being busy, but when if you walk in there at any common time, you're going to be met by somebody and they're going to put you on a list.
Yes.
Because you're probably not walking in and sitting down at Swig unless you're at one of those lull times, because it's a really busy place. And I think that, you kind of you touched on it, but you took that local bar food and then you went like, whoop, whoop, like you brought it up. And so it's still got that, it's still the comfort food, but then you're like, wait a second, I never had it with that before. Everything's got this twist.
Absolutely.
That's what, whenever people come in town, I'm always like, hey, we're going to Swig. And they're like, what's Swig? And, and people are like, oh, that's the hot dog place, or that's the wing joint, or whatever it is, or they've got lots of craft beers. Yeah, they have all those things. They also, that's the first place I ever had a BLT with an egg on it with, all this. And so, and I like that. I think I did it anyways, but I think the first time, I think it might've been COVID time, I called in, and obviously it's all takeout. Right. Yeah. So you guys converted to that pretty quick. We can talk about that in a minute. But I called in and tried to order French fries.
Right.
And somebody was like, I don't recommend it.
Correct.
I'm like, are you unselling me on the, well, they don't travel well.
Correct.
And I'm like, there's
trying to
somebody,
be
there's
honest.
someone telling me, setting me up so I don't get home and I'm disappointed. I'm pretty sure, knowing how much I like French fries, I ordered the French fries anyways, and then I like tried to figure it out when I got home. But I thought it was really interesting. They're like, hey, they want the experience, whether it's at the restaurant or at my house, to be, as close as it's going to be. I mean, it's just not going to be as good at home in most cases as it is at the restaurant. But then at least I thought that was very interesting because I've, just like everybody, all we did was takeout. Like you were either cooked at home or you took takeout. And that's the only restaurant, the only conversation that somebody told me, hey, you should really think about this because this doesn't, I'm like, I'm only 7 minutes away. Just telling you, once you put them in, whatever changes, changes. But it was very interesting, during the peak of that stuff. Like you always had such an organized system, and it always seemed like in comparison to the other restaurants, you were like not a step, but like probably a couple steps ahead on the way, just the process and the flow of people and the flow of outgoing and incoming and all that stuff. So I was very impressive as somebody that's, goes to Swig a couple times a week, every week for the last forever, for a long time.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So anyways,
With the as far as the fries go,
let's talk about French fries for a few minutes.
There's a few things. We're not telling anybody no. That goes along with what I said earlier.
Right.
It's simply, do you want to make that dollar or do you want to have somebody return? It's just not Swig. It's a lot of restaurants, especially smaller restaurants. That's a nice thing about smaller restaurants is we have adaptability because we have less moving parts. It goes into then during this time, the availability of different food is different than it was. The boxing, all the aspects of any restaurant, not just Swig, all restaurant. In the restaurant world, what the general public doesn't understand is that as soon as this hit, it was almost impossible to get to-go boxes. Your vinyl gloves gone. Chicken and beef, because everybody was hoarding.
Yeah,
was almost. Oh my gosh! At one point, I get whole beef. I mean, I was paying at the beginning of this, just for chuck. It was right around $12 a pound.
Oh,
that's insane.
That's insane. What's it normally like pre-COVID?
It fluctuates. Even right now, it's still high. But pre-COVID, it was down. I think it was $2.98.
And it went to what?
It was right around 12.
That's
if you could get it.
Yeah.
If you could get
well,
it.
And
yes.
Yeah. How does a restaurant like absorb that cost difference for
the only way you absorb that is two ways, really. You either make the portion smaller or you raise your prices. Well, we didn't like either of that. So what we did was we reached out. We got some local folks that we were able to buy from, and that were certified that I'm allowed to buy from.
Sure,
it was just like, hey Frank, hey, that's a nice cow. You mind if I kill it? No, yeah. I mean there was.
Besides that, if you make eye contact with the cow,
I'd be out. I'd be eating tepe.
It's just not going to work.
Yep, I'm out. But it was so we reached out. So those are the two. And again, this is all restaurants. And if you notice, a lot of the trending food now which is kind of funny, believe it or not, is charcuterie. It's like, well, we've been there for 12 years.
Yeah.
And we're cool again. Yes. Let's get the band back together. Well, but the thing is also is the weirder cuts. Chicken thighs. The best part of the chicken anyways. It's always been my favorite. Well, now it's chicken thighs are going up and chicken breasts, believe it or not, and tenderloins are staying the same. So it's funny that right now what we're dealing with is a lot of government things with restaurants. Okay, they want to raise the minimum wage. Cool, awesome, but they also want to drop tax income or tax tip credit. Well, oh boy, so now I'm going to pay my server $15 an hour, period, and I can't. There's no tips tax credit. So are they allowed to accept tips? Because then they're getting taxed even further on that.
Yeah.
You know, it would destroy what restaurants do. So, you know, you have, you know, that area. Then, oh my gosh. Did I tell you, you're 49 now also.
Yeah.
Happy belated, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. You're way older.
I'm forgetting where the hell I was going. Oh, so where the hell was I going with that?
I don't know. Yeah, when you start talking about age,
I like beer.
Yeah, there you go. So, but if we go back, if we take a step back, because you said like you were ahead of the times on the charcuterie.
Oh, charcuterie, that's what it was.
Which I say wrong every
The thing is
time.
the supply and demand. As soon as, for instance, chicken thighs, so they're going up, and this is a real thing. So now everyone's sitting around going, okay, who decides on whatever the new trend is? You know, what is it? Chicken necks? You know, what the hell? What other part of this animal can I use? Chicken feet? Mm-hmm. You know, they've been around. Sure, we can. You know, have Jamaican cuisine. You know, have you ever had chicken feet?
Yes,
they're pretty cool.
It's actually rather
it's
good.
weird, but it's cool. It's a supply and demand.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line. I think my earbud's going off in my pocket.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, as far as restaurants go, you're going to see a whole lot of people pulling, I'm going to be blunt, pulling ideas out their ass.
Yeah.
Well, hey, take these pre-breaded Tyson chunks and throw it on some rice and throw some. You know, no, that's not the direction that you want to see restaurants going. However, restaurants have to mobilize their everything, their full arsenal in this time.
Yeah.
One, portions, it's up to them. If you're gonna go smaller, yeah, you can seemingly save a buck, but you may drive people away. Your creativity has to come in line. You have to look at all the ingredients that you can get for cheap. That's exactly what your parents, your grandparents, my grandparents, all of our grandparents were forced to do. That's some of the best food you've ever had was due to necessity,
right?
Due to availability, due to what they had.
Yeah.
And so that's with these chain restaurants, Arby's. Let's take that. You know, that's fast food. Well, we got the meats. No, you got 40% meat. But the thing is the availability to them is different because they're buying whole farms. Us little guys, we can we can buy the mustard greens from Jay down the street. I can get some chicken from Sofo. I can, or GFS and or local. All right, I can get that stuff. I can pull this from here and recreate a classic, even a higher end classic, by throwing in, your little bit of fanciness, be it an ingredient.
Well, you've always had the fanciness. Mm-hmm. Like, is the fanciness all you? Is the we're you?
Yeah.
Like, is the like that?
You want to know how I come up with my ideas?
I would love to know.
Swear to God.
Expound on that.
You
For
sit
somebody
there,
that's just
you're
listening,
hungry.
he just lifted his beer.
How many times have you sat there, and I'm not saying, I sit there and get loaded and I come with no. How many times have you sat and had a couple beers and went, dude, I'm starving. You know what sounds good? No, man, what? And then you go on for hours. Oh, then what if we did this? That's exactly, I'm not kidding you. That or when I'm walking through a grocery store. So there's a lot of times if you guys go to any of these grocery stores around, you may see me literally walking around with an empty cart, kind of looking like, I'm sure somebody probably sees me like, that guy's a creeper. Thing is, I'm looking at all these boxes. I'm looking at all this stuff. And in my head, I'm going a mile a minute, and I go hungry on purpose. I will show up at that grocery store starving because, I would eat, a toenail off an elephant. All right. And it would be the best thing ever. Turn nachos. I don't know. So, and that's where you come up with your ideas. Now keep in mind though that, I started working in a very fancy place, a very fancy French restaurant in Vermilion, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I was getting paid $3 an hour. I was washing dishes, shucking oysters, cutting mushrooms, doing whatever the hell I had to do for $3 an hour. And this is in 1985. And I worked there all the way up, through high school and college. I worked at, a couple fancy places, and then also at a couple bars. Went to the corporate world, went through college, did all this other stuff. But the thing is if you have your technique and you have your knowledge never ends. I'm always watching stuff.
Sure.
And so is my staff. That's the thing is my kitchen manager, Kyle. Oh man, have you met him?
Yeah.
He's the kindest. I love Kyle. So what we do is that the technique is there. I'm usually the guy with that I'll teach them, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. But they'll come to me with ideas. I'll come to them with ideas. And again, it comes down to being hungry I'll text them at 10:30 at night, watching a ball game with the guys going, dude, this and this and this, what do you think? And then they'll shoot back. Okay, can we take it down to 3 steps? Get it down to 4 steps. How can we do this?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we got the best damn sandwich you ever seen in your life. It comes down to science. Reverse wings. It's a viscosity thing. Think about it, Dan.
I've never seen those anywhere else. So I'm here with Tony Swig, Tony Bilancini, and the reverse wings.
You go everywhere.
I don't know how to describe them. I literally have never seen them anywhere else.
All I've taken is some fried chicken delectable, be it a chicken, a cut up chicken breast. We use tenderloins, chicken tenderloin and or chicken wing. Well, okay, so say you're having chicken wings. You go to your local franchise and you order some hot wings. And you're like, dude, I want a whole bunch of blue cheese because blue cheese is awesome.
Yeah.
Right? So they bring out a whole bunch of blue cheese. You dunk your wing in there. You look down. There's no blue cheese on there. But there's a whole lot of your hot sauce in the blue cheese because this is thinner than the blue cheese.
Yeah.
So it holds on to it.
Yeah.
So it took your little lady and ran off. You're like, come on, dude. So what we did is we just flipped it around. We're like, oh, yeah? So I toss it, you toss it. Simply, it's a viscosity thing. You toss it in the blue cheese or ranch, and you dip it in your hot sauce. Not only that, you can get the hottest damn sauce you ever had in your life. You just go like, Duke, if you want, or you dunk that thing right in. So now you can gear your heat also.
Yeah.
It's science, dude. It's also common sense. That's
well. Another thing. Let's talk. Since we're talking about hot wings, which is one of my favorite subjects.
I could live on wings.
Yeah, for sure. Serious. I used to have a serious wing problem, but something about your very hot. So here's the problem I have with the traditional very hot wing is it loses flavor in exchange for heat.
Yes. Never do that.
Yours does not.
Correct.
I know this is very scientific, which I'm naturally good at. How's that what's is there a trade-off and you just decided not to make that trade-off, or what's different there? Because I've had them other places because I can eat pretty hot stuff.
The thing is okay, there's obviously heat's based on your Scoville units. We're not going to get into that. We already know that.
Because I don't even know what that means.
It's just how many parts per million that you can still taste the pepper in the water.
Yep.
Okay. And then after that, most hot sauces have a vinegar base.
All right.
Okay, so you got your pain and pleasure. So do you want your pleasure to go this long? It sounds like we should be on a different radio station.
Right.
Or do you want it, right here? So, and then rest is just heat and sweet and pain. No. So it's where it hits you on the tongue and what you're using. Am I going to go run out and buy Carolina Reapers and Scorpion peppers? I do have that.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody says, "Hey, dude, blow my face off," I will blow your face off. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to be going, "Yeah, I'm going to hurt you." No,
Right.
dude. But if you really want to hurt, here, you know, go
we,
hurt.
We have that. We can do that.
Yeah, you know, and to me, it's like go home, put on the nipple clamps, and slug some Carolina Reapers. I don't know what you're into, but it's weird, dude. But for us, we just want some vinegar and the balance of cayenne, different kinds of peppers land different on you.
Yeah.
We use for that one habanero, and we use dried habanero, not fresh habanero. The reason being is you don't have to use as much, and it doesn't get. You don't end up with a seed over here and going, oh God, right. So it's a smooth blend, cayenne, which is very mild. That's your normal Frank's hot sauce. Mm-hmm. We don't use Frank's hot sauce. We use the cayenne, and believe it or not, right in between those, we use jalapeno and serrano. So it's not like we're using these crazy hot peppers. Our difference for us is our fermentation process.
Okay.
Have you ever fermented anything?
No.
Oh, dude, it's really cool. You pack it in salt, and you walk away.
Sounds complicated.
I swear to God, dude.
For how long?
You grind it up. Well, you have to weight it down because what will happen is salt pulls the water out of these peppers, etc. And as long as they're covered in that, and you let it sit for a few days, and they literally ferment like you would have booze, but there's no alcohol yet. But there's not enough sugars to make booze, and it ferments, and it's probiotic.
Okay.
So really, our hot sauce is probiotic. Do I recommend you go slug a glass of it and go, and I feel best ever? Yes, you will. You'll get rid of anything in your intestines, but no, I don't recommend that by any means. Yes.
Look over your shoulder.
Why are you laughing? Oh, dude, I love this place. I love this place.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the story of our reverse wings. Our Frankenstein wings are just that. It's everything in a wing you could ever want. That's it. It's Willy Wonka. Pow. The ultimate gobstopper.
Yeah, and I do feel like that's consistent across the board. The other thing, besides the being a little ahead on a couple other things, like you were doing beer the way a lot of places are doing it now before anybody was doing it that way. Like, so whose bright idea was that? Like, how did that come about? Because that too,
I'm going to be honest with you.
You were doing that stuff and nobody was doing it.
Yeah, that did fall on me. It's everyone, again, like food goes, there's very few things we take seriously at Swig. Two of them is food, and we take beer very, very, very seriously. Mm-hmm. The choosing of the beer. At first we went through that phase where, you'd have your make-believe, I called it make-believe crafts or gateway crafts. Mm-hmm. Everyone has to start somewhere. For me, I started with Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, 1987. I wasn't even 21 yet. No, 1989. Yeah, 1989. I apologize. Because I still remember exactly how old I was. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was, to me, at that time, I couldn't stand it. I hated it.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2008. Even before that, you had, at least when I was in Hawaii, you had really more imports. Believe it or not, out there, Heineken's cheaper than Bud Light. Isn't that crazy? Yeah,
it is crazy.
Yeah. All the Heineken you want. All the Heineken you want is cheap. Gas was expensive. Milk. Heineken, no problem.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but as far as our craft beer, we started with, believe it or not, we had a third party making our, we had a Swig label at one point. It was Black Swamp Brewing Company when they first opened. Mm-hmm. And it was a brown ale. It was good. And then they broke up or what have you. I'm not quite sure. And so at that point, we're just like, well, let's spread out. So if you look at our tap list, we always have your IPA, your pale, your stout. We are one or two stouts. Your seasonal, if there's such thing at that time, and or a trendy. For instance, like now it's what sour and hazies. You know, you drink your sours. Yeah, do you drink sours? I can drink. I can drink one. It's like drinking for me. It's like drinking kombucha.
Yeah.
Or salad dressing. They make great salad dressing.
It's almost exactly the same.
I mean, oh, dude, could you imagine if garlic expressions was? I'd drink a whole bottle.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Let's add booze to
I think you could do it.
We have our garlic martinis. Dude, let's try it.
So it's funny because there's been a couple times when we've been hanging out and you've literally thrown things together. And there's no way that any normal person would think of these flavors going together, which I think is interesting because you do have different specials all the time,
right?
Which are always unique. Like there's no, hey, we're going to do a peanut butter and jelly, but like if whatever you do across the board, it's always got one or two moving parts that would
scratch your
take
head
somebody out. Yeah, scratch your head. Take somebody thinking outside the box to do. Like, are those also like you just kind of sitting down and
that's my forte.
Building stuff out.
That's what I'm good at.
So do you have a hard time keeping, like, do you get some of them that are so good that people are like, you need to keep that on the menu? And do you ever?
Oh, yes. That's one of our most common things.
Yeah.
Is, oh, you got to add this to the menu. Oh, hey, what happened to this? Or you got, it's. What we do with our food is we embrace the weird. It's to some 1% it's weird. To you, it's might be normal, et cetera. It's sort of like with what you do. I might be going, how the hell do you're making my head spin on how you take this and I'm giving, you invest here, but you got to keep an eye on here. But what about this? It has to do with this, but not, you see, it's all over the place to me. That blows my mind. So for us, it's really simple. Like going back to the not embrace the weird per se, but the uncomfortable. That's the perfect word.
Yeah.
The uncomfortable is like, I'm not sure about if I would like that. Well, try it.
Worst case scenario,
you don't like it, and we go, okay, dude, no, we're not going to charge you for it.
Yeah.
But at least you tried it. At least you went out there and said, all right, dude, I'm getting crazy today.
Yeah. But if you didn't try your ice cream with chocolate covered bacon.
Yeah. We were doing chocolate covered bacon way before folks were.
Yeah.
Think about it.
It's legit.
Yeah, 2008.
Like you're really bringing together two universes that marry very well.
It's umami. Yeah, you're salty, you're sweet. Yeah, we
magical.
did for a minute. We were doing as a special with peppered bacon, like spicy pepper bacon. So you had it was good.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll make some of it. Actually, you're making my mouth water. I want to do that.
That's the problem with talking about food. You get hungry, and we're almost up against it on the time. So,
are we?
Yeah, we're pretty close. It happens pretty fast, man. Anything else we should be talking about? Anything on Swig's radar? Anything on Tony's radar? I mean, you guys have had a pretty awesome attitude through the whole COVID stuff.
Right.
And really, you seem to have continued what it sounds like is the same attitude from the day you opened to today, which is really different. Like with 1 out of every 6 restaurants having gone out of business already.
Yeah.
You guys aren't going out of business, and business seems to be really strong. But not only that, but to also have upbeat attitude. Hey, they're going to throw us this curveball. We're going to learn how to hit a curveball. So that seems to be what you guys have been doing all along. Is there anything else on the radar, anything we should be looking forward to, or just like looking at the specials all the time and paying attention to those?
Yeah, keep an eye on specials.
Those are good, man.
We're coming up on spring. We're expanding our patio.
Okay.
It's going to be awesome. And I want to get some live music back.
Yeah.
We can't until the capacity, Mr. DeWine can stay open as late as we want. It doesn't do you much good until the capacity comes back, but everyone be safe. That's all. Our food-wise, keep an eye on what we're doing as normal. We post every Monday. We have links on our Facebook, Twitter, what have you, so you can order directly. If you ever have any questions, call us. We'll answer you. Fill up a growler, have a cold beer, make a friend.
Right
That's
on.
all.
That's
and
good.
that's all I got to say. Make friends.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for the time.
Salute.
Cheers. Salute.
Cheers.
Dan DeVerna offers products and services using the following business names: Creative Financial Partners, Insurance and Financial Services, Ameritas Investment Company, LLC, AIC, Member FINRA, SIPC, Security Investments, Ameritas Advisor Services, AAS Investment Advisory Services, AIC and AAS are not affiliated with Creative Financial Partners. Products and services are limited to residents of states where the representative is registered. This is not an offer of securities in any jurisdiction, nor is it specifically directed to a resident of any jurisdiction. As with any security, request and prospectus from a representative, read carefully before you invest or send money. A representative will contact you to provide requested information. Representatives of AIC and AAS do not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney regarding your situation.
Whew. Thanks for watching.